Welcome to this video on the Subaru Solterra, and we're very excited because you guys are the first people in the country to actually see this car in person. And Ed, what a car.
What a car is right, Paul. This is the first ever all-electric Subaru SUV. And what excites us most about this vehicle is that it's going to bring together everything that's positive about a Subaru and marry it to a zero emissions package.
Now I'm excited too because this is a car brand that we love that has for 70 years been making cars that are fun to drive, reliable, practical and usable.
Yeah.
It's been doing all-wheel drive as a concept for 50 years this year, isn't it? 1972, Subaru came out with the all-wheel drive concept, and it's underpinned literally everything we've done ever since.
Yeah, and Subaru are the most dedicated brand to all-wheel drive. You cannot buy a Subaru in the UK without all-wheel drive. And it's not just any all-wheel drive, it's obviously always on permanent all-wheel drive, whether you buy the Outback or even the new Solterra, it's always on all-wheel drive. So what makes us really excited about the Solterra is it's not just EV defining what the Solterra is going to be, it's actually Subaru defining what our all-electric, first electric vehicle is going to be. So it's going to bring about all the core attributes that we all love so dearly about all of our existing combustion-powered Subarus, and they're going to be paired up to some of the best EV credentials of any electric car in the market today.
We've got this lovely Outback here today, and obviously this is where we are today. And what's lovely about this, as you say, all of our brand values, everything that made you fall in love with this car is in the new Solterra.
Yeah.
All-wheel drive, now people think, right, I can fly up a mountain, I can fly down a mountain, if it's wet and greasy, I can go anywhere. That's true, but actually all-wheel drive has another playing card. When you're on the motorway, driving at speed, flying down a country lane, it's just as important there, isn't it?
Absolutely, and interestingly enough, we were looking at stats quite recently. So we looked at rainfall in the UK.
Yeah.
And
I'm guessing we get quite a lot.
We certainly do. So in 2020,
Come on, how many days?
171 days of rainfall. That's nearly 50% of the year.
It's quite depressing, isn't it, really?
Yeah, it kind of is. So just linking to what you're saying there, all-wheel drive isn't just about climbing a mountain.
Yeah.
It's not about going off to a mud trail or whatever. It's about actually driving on the motorway at 70 miles an hour, feeling reassured, feeling solid, feeling confident behind the wheel. And you get that from no other than any Subaru with its always-on all-wheel drive. And that's in the Outback, that's in the Solterra. It does not matter. And if you clock any bit of mileage in a Subaru, you know within a couple of miles that there's something special about it.
Well, also we're filming this, aren't we, in early April, and in where I live in Nottingham, they gritted last night, they gritted the night before. So there's ice, there's black ice, and symmetrical all-wheel drive or all-wheel drive, whatever the system is it's perfect, isn't it?
Yeah.
Whatever the conditions are, you've got the most amount of grip. You never have to think, am I switching it on? Is the computer switching it on? It's just always there.
Yeah, so that's quite reassuring actually in the context of EV.
Yeah.
On the basis that electric cars obviously are that bit heavier. The electric powertrain, the battery brings a lot of weight to the new future vehicle. So on that basis, weight distribution is very important. And obviously with the brand that we represent, Subaru are absolutely fanatical about weight distribution. And on that basis, that's another reason why we're so excited about new Solterra, because we are essentially one of the best brands when it comes to even weight distribution and 50-50 balance, back to front, left to right. Applying those strengths and that engineering know-how to an all-electric vehicle that's obviously that bit heavier than outgoing combustion equivalent models.
But it's heavy, but it's fun to drive in that 50-50 weight distribution because you get lovely handling, don't you? So it's fun to hustle down a country lane. It makes the car very predictable. So from an active safety point of view, it's going to go where you point it, it's going to do what you want it to do, it's going to go where you want it to go.
Yeah.
That's always fun. But we need grip, and also, because we should talk about Solterra's torque.
Yeah.
This thing has mighty, mighty power, doesn't it?
So the all-new Solterra has 336 Newton meters of torque.
But that wasn't long ago, that was a supercar figure.
Yeah.
Anyone that's been with us a long time with Subaru, the STI, obviously our flagship performance model, you're that kind of performance, aren't you, really?
Yeah.
But in a car that's polar bear friendly, dolphin friendly, iceberg friendly. So it's the best of both worlds, isn't it?
Yeah, you got it. And surprisingly, a lot of brands out there delivering new electric cars to market are actually going the rear-wheel drive route.
But why?
So, that's why, again, we're feeling that Subaru is going to become more and more relevant into the future, and we're very excited about Solterra because it's only available in all-wheel drive for reasons that we've just discussed.
Now, a big thing of this, we've got a lovely Outback here. We've always had the flat four engine, and the beauty of the flat four engine is that everything's very low down in the car. It's wonderful in a crash because it goes under the cabin as well, where most conventional engines sit up. So we've still got that, haven't we? We've still got that low centre of gravity. Everything's right underneath. The car handles as well as it can.
So it's got low centre of gravity. It's got a very competitive drag coefficient, which is basically how quickly and how well it cuts through the wind. So the drag coefficient is 0.28, which, believe me, is very competitive.
It is very competitive.
So that actually couples up and marries up very well to the fact that an electric vehicle is already very silent and very quiet. So the Solterra is going to be the most calmest, most tranquil, most quietest Subaru yet.
Very refined.
Very refined and very smooth. So a key focus for Subaru is actually driving position. And basically, from personal experience, and speak to anyone, including you.
I'm a big lad, I should say, because what I find about these, particularly with the Outback, and I've seen the Solterra, which has got an amazing amount of cabin space, is if you're a big lad, if you're tall with long legs, so much leg room.
So on the new Solterra, it's got an extra long wheelbase and very short overhangs. So that's the ultimate architecture of any automobile.
Because they've really pushed the wheels out, haven't they?
Pushed the wheels out.
Handling, they're as wide as it can be, it's as long wheelbase as it can be. So you get this amazing handling, you get huge amounts of cabin space.
Win-win all round, for driver and for all passengers. And it doesn't stop there, the boot then as well. We see among competition when you choose the all-wheel drive route, you actually lose boot capacity. But in our vehicle, it's between 440, 450, depending on which grade you choose. So very decent sized boot. So dimensionally, I suppose, to cut a long story short, dimensionally and cabin-wise, the all-new Solterra has a similar offering in terms of cabin space and cargo space as the Subaru Forester, which is a good place to be. It's not too big, it's not too small, it's just right.
Ed, now, all the lovely people watching will be thinking, well, in my petrol or diesel Subaru, I can just splash a bit of fuel and I can then drive great distance. So how will this compare? How will a Solterra compare the battery experience?
Quite similar, actually. In terms of range, it'll be very similar with up to 288 miles, according to the WLTP combined cycle, which is quite impressive. So all in all, it'll be very similar because, I mean, that would be roughly range of combustion-powered Subaru thereabouts. But with the fast charge function on the Solterra, it charges at 150 kilowatts. So you'll get that at any service station or any kind of motorway stop, etc.
And how long does that take in
the real world? So that'll be up to 80% would be roughly, say, 30 minutes.
Wow.
And so that's DC fast charge in a service station at the side of the motorway.
So by the time you've gone in, had a cup of coffee, quick stop for nature, and out, you charge.
You're good to go, yeah. So then at home, it'll charge at 7 kilowatts. And up to 80%, that'll take generally between 7 and 8 hours. So basically, by the time you wake up in the morning, you'll be ready to go.
And get that on the right tariff. That really can be quite cheap, can't it?
Yeah. So the Solterra will come with a Subaru Care app. So everything that you need to control remotely will be available on the app. So you can, as you say, you can defer the charging and program it so that it starts, for example, at 11 o'clock at night to avail a night tariff. If you forget to put, if a window's down, and you can actually see it on the app before you go to bed at night. Check the app and you'll check the status of the vehicle. So there'll be a little orange traffic light.
Yeah. All the people watching with kids now going, yeah, that's me.
You forgot to put a window down, you can remotely put it up. You can also preheat or pre-cool the car. So you can do that again, all from the convenience of the app. So basically, the car is more convenient than a petrol vehicle or a diesel vehicle on the basis that you can control everything from the convenience of your mobile phone, which is cutting edge stuff, really.
We've established this isn't the warmest country or the driest country. What about people thinking when it's cold, will I still get the same range when it's cold?
Yeah, so very interesting question actually, and something that we're really excited about on Solterra. It'll come standard with the heat pump, irrespective of whether it's a limited or a touring, right across the range it'll come with the heat pump.
And because that's something that other manufacturers do offer, but it's always an option, it's always expensive.
Yeah, and it's roughly about £1,000 retail is what a heat pump costs. It'll basically ensure that you get as close to the claimed range as possible, whereas for vehicles without a heat pump, there'll be a larger disparity between what you actually achieve in range versus what the claimed range was.
And Japanese, we must say really, they're very honest, aren't they? And they under-promise with any figures, any performance figures, emissions figures, range data.
Yeah.
They're very,
very conservative.
Very conservative nation.
And very cautious with any figures that are published. Yeah, absolutely. So that's good news for the Solterra. So we'll have two grades. We'll have a limited and a touring. And both models will come with a 12.3-inch touchscreen with Apple CarPlay, Android Auto.
That is absolutely enormous, isn't it?
Yeah, huge touchscreen display. Front and rear sensors. It'll have 360 bird's eye surround camera.
Yeah.
So the standard model is really well spec'd. But in all honesty, I think it's the touring, the Grade 2, that really is the ultimate, in the sense that it has the 20-inch alloys, which really bring the car to life.
Yeah.
It's got the panoramic roof, which basically drenches the cabin with natural light entry, making it a really nice place to be. It's got a Harman Kardon sound system with a subwoofer in the trunk, and of course it's got leather. So the two price points are $49,995 on the road, on the limited, which is really competitive, and that's another reason why we're so excited about Solterra. And the Grade 2, which is the touring, that's $52,995 on the road.
And that's got everything. That's fully loaded, as we say, isn't it?
Everything. It has everything. There's nothing that you could want for in that car. In terms of EV credentials, specification, safety, I mean, Subaru, for example, they're one of very few brands on sale in the UK that have achieved a 5-star NCAP across all models.
Because this is the thing, I used to work for a Swedish car company back in the 1990s, and they were always considered to be the safest. But Subaru have taken that and they've run with it, haven't they? And there's a lot of innovation on this, and like you see, every single car is 5-star in the range.
Yeah.
Everything that's safety is standard, it's never an option, it's always standard on every single car. And it's become the car that I think, more than anything, in active safety will keep you out of an accident.
Absolutely.
It's got all of these systems, it's got this amazing chassis.
Yeah.
And then if you get into an accident, when you come into passive safety, which is everything that then looks after you in that regard, it's got all of that too, hasn't it?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, there's a lot of things that you can't actually demonstrate on a test drive with a Subaru. In the sphere of
you don't want to be
safety.
really demonstrating the passive safety.
No. But for example, the headlight package on all Subarus, irrespective of which model you choose, it literally turns night into day.
Yeah.
You know, you've got a level of visibility. Visibility is actually considered the starting point for all things safety at Subaru. So the visibility is one of the things that people from other brands first notice when they get into a Subaru. And not only does that benefit safety, it also benefits just the cabin well-being and making every Subaru a really nice place to be.
Ed, Subarus have always been beautifully put together, but recently I think the interior quality is something else, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's come on to such a level now. Anybody coming from BMW, Mercedes, Audi, JLR product, Volvo product, it'll be a very smooth transition. It's certainly of that caliber.
Let's have a look. Ed, my earliest Subaru is 1967. That's the oldest Subaru I've got. I think it's fair to say we've come a long way.
Absolutely, yeah, you could say that.
Well, it feels very German. I think that's the highest compliment you can give, isn't it? The leather on the wheel, the seats are incredible. These are Napa leather in this car. Just the soft touch fabrics, as you say, the way that everything has a compliance to it and a give to it.
Yeah.
It really is a premium car, but it's not just the inside. The outside of the Solterra, that's a proper SUV, isn't it? It's not a look-alike.
Yeah, and that's one of the many reasons why we're so excited about Solterra. It is an SUV. It's basically a continuation of what we're already doing with Forester and Outback, with our XV, with our SUVs, and bringing it right into the electric vehicle world now. When you look at competition, a lot of them are actually leaving SUV behind, whereas we've got Solterra with a ground clearance of 210 millimeters, which is similar to that of Outback and Forester. We have a real SUV look, obviously, with these very strong wheel arch extensions, giving full 360 wraparound protection right around the car.
This is a car for real life, isn't it? If you scuff your Solterra, it's not going to ruin the look, is it?
Yeah. It's a very rugged and tough vehicle with the full protection, making your car look better for longer, obviously.
But we kind of invented this genre, didn't we, really? If we're sitting in an Outback, that was the first jacked up estate, everybody copied it.
Yeah.
And you look at the Forester was the first real driver's SUV. So people had done a boxy body before, no one had put it on a car that was fun to drive. And I guess the Solterra is all of that heritage boiled down into one electric vehicle.
Exactly, yeah. So all the key strengths of everything that's gone before it bolted onto a very competitive EV powertrain and battery.
Love it. Thank you so much for watching this short film. We hope you enjoy seeing the car in person in just a few minutes' time, and even more, driving it in the very near future.
The all-electric Solterra is the first of many all-electric vehicles from Subaru. Please make sure to contact your local dealer to arrange a test drive this summer.